All right, so the Buccaneers win. They clinched the division, and if you might be wondering, what am I doing? Why am I recording this in a weird way? Well, I'm sitting in my girlfriend's sister's room as I am visiting for the holidays, and this is the best I can do. I can't really make any film studies, unfortunately, for today or tomorrow, but I figured, hey, I can still record a video, kind of give my thoughts on the game itself, if I get my finger away from the camera. So it's something. It's a way to get some content out, so let's get into it. I'm kind of just going to give my general thoughts of the game. I took plenty of notes about this. The first thing that happened in this game, just jumping in, was just an awful pass by Brady on third down. That kind of made you think, oh my God, this is going to get memed to death, all of this stuff. This isn't very good. But, obviously much more good stuff happened. I mean, we did see a good run from Cam Newton. So again, starting to wonder, is this going to be a game? Is this going to be competitive? But what we would then go on to see is a lot of just good stuff from Tampa Bay. A lot of, you could argue they still didn't live up to their potential in this one. I think that definitely having a good third option is still missed. They have Gronkowski, they have Antonio Brown now, adding Mike Evans, which would then probably be their first option, and making Gronkowski that third option instead could make things a little easier. But anyways, just kind of going over the big highlights. We saw after the good run by Cam Newton, we saw Keyshawn Vaughn have a big run, which is exciting to see. He's someone who I've been wanting to see play well for a while now, because I was excited to see him out of college. I had kind of, quite frankly, just given up on him a little bit. So the fact that he was able to come through and get a big run was cool. We then saw an interception by Cam Newton due to a tipped pass by Shaquille Barrett. So, defensive line coming through. That would be a trend in this game. Is the offensive line and defensive line for Tampa Bay really just dominated the Panthers' offensive and defensive line. The Panthers' offensive and defensive line, not the best. Their defensive line is very good. Shouldn't say that. But in pass protection, Tampa Bay was able to do a lot well. Really, what I meant when I said that their offensive line isn't the best, or when their lines aren't the best, it's their offensive line that isn't the best. And again, I have to do this in one take. Can't edit it out, or I'll have to just do the whole thing over again. But we'll deal with me saying dumb things sometimes. Second quarter happened. We saw an Antonio Brown big catch on 3rd and 13. That was the thing about this game, was it was an Antonio Brown coming out party. And that's the luxury of having 3 elite wide receivers, is if 2 of them get injured, you still have a third elite wide receiver. That worked out really well for Tampa Bay, as Antonio Brown was able to really have a big day. He had a big play on that one. One thing that I noticed, and this is maybe a small thing, but it's something I noticed, was Cameron Brate had a one-on-one and wasn't able to win it. And that's exactly what I talk about when I say, when you lose guys, it just makes things more difficult. Cameron Brate shouldn't be the guy who we're throwing up to in one-on-one coverage on the sideline making those plays, but he's forced to try and play that role now because we're banged up. That's the reality of the situation. We also saw another small thing that I noticed in this game was Ronald Jones missed a blitz pickup. That resulted in a pressure and an incomplete pass. Leonard Fournette picks up that blitz. That's one of the things he's really good at. So little things like that, you hope that as we get healthier, don't become as big of an issue. And again, sorry, Panthers fans. I know I'm taking a very Bucs-centric view of this, but let's be honest. I'm a Bucs fan. Of course, it's going to happen to some degree. But, as the Buccaneers hopefully get better, that's something that will improve for them, I would think. Then we would see Sam Darnold enter the game. So we now have Darnold in the football game, which is fun. Darnold, I thought, played all right. Like, right off the bat, there was a blown coverage. He got 63 yards, and so that's going to make his stats a little bit misleading, of course. But I still thought that he played all right in this one. We then would see, some other stuff. He on a 3rd down and goal, he basically ran himself into a sack. So, we saw the highs and the lows for Sam Darnold. And then, later on for Tampa Bay, we're still seeing some issues. Like, for example, O.J. Howard and Cameron Brate were not on the same page, which resulted in an incomplete pass on 3rd down. So that it was sort of a pick play where Gronkowski and Brate run out, and then Brate kind of runs underneath. And they actually scored a touchdown on a similar play later in the game, but on that play, they just weren't on the same page. And O.J. Howard, it looked like it was O.J. Howard's fault, but I can't say for certain. Either way, though, if you have, instead of those 2 guys running it, if it's Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, they have done it a lot of times, and they would be better at it. So that's another sort of example of this kind of thing. And then what we would see is a big play from Cyril Grayson. It was kind of a long developing play, and this is what I mean when I say the Tampa Bay offensive line really did kind of dominate in a lot of ways. It played very well. Pass protection was very good. And the Cyril Grayson long play, it needed time to develop. I'm a big believer in, listen, you need to have receivers who can get open. Otherwise, your offense is going to struggle. Look at the New Orleans game last week as a prime example of that. Even if you have time, although they didn't have time either in that game, but even if you have time, it doesn't matter if no one's getting open. But if you want to run these long developing plays, which Bruce Arians loves to do, you have to have the guys who can pass protect, and Tampa Bay does. So, we all talk about Tom Brady and Chris Godwin and Mike Evans and Antonio Brown and Rob Gronkowski, and for a good reason. They're all very good. But when you have the other guys who can make that stuff happen, that's how a lot of these plays tend to work. So in the first half, it wasn't like a dominating first half. Sorry, I keep switching hands, by the way, on the camera. I might try to prop it up for my next video because my hands are getting tired quicker than I would have guessed. But anyways, I thought in the third quarter, things kind of went off the rails for Carolina. It still felt competitive in the first two quarters. Third quarter was really Tampa Bay's quarter in a lot of ways, where Rob Gronkowski making some big plays. He had a big catch. Also, Antonio Brown having some more catches. That led to a field goal drive to get the ball back quickly. We saw one of my favorite plays in football, which is a Tom Brady run, which would go for a first down. Some other good runs there. I think there was 4 plays on that drive that were all over 10 yards and none over 15. So they were just getting first down, and eventually getting touchdown there. So little stuff like that, that's how they can really just kill you, not necessarily getting these explosives, but not necessarily slowly, methodically moving down the field either. Kind of a weird in-between there for Tampa Bay to keep going, getting some more points. The flip side for Carolina, I should talk about Sam Darnold. I thought that he played all right. I thought that he did make some good throws. He also did miss a 3rd and 11. He had his misses. Missed a pass on 3rd and 11. So he had his misses, but he had some good plays as well. There was some positive. There was some negative for Darnold. There's no denying that. Sort of some other small things. Jordan Whitehead had a big day. The commentators were huge fans of Jordan Whitehead, but I was too. I thought he played well. I thought he definitely did a lot well. As I sort of already mentioned, Antonio Brown and the pressure with the offensive and defensive lines both coming in well. So good stuff from Tampa Bay. Tom Brady ends up with 232 yards on a day. So the numbers itself aren't going to wow you. And in fact, that's kind of true across the board, right? Ronald Jones had, just 65 yards on 20 carries. And by the way, if you're not running the ball well, if you're only averaging 3.2 yards per carry, Ronald Jones, what are you doing at this point? He did have the touchdown, but you're in there you're in there because you're the better runner. If you're not running the ball well, that's kind of an issue. But, as a whole, Antonio Brown had a big impact game, and it's not the best team, and it's weird. It doesn't seem like it's that dominant of a performance, but look at the final score, ends up being a dominant win, so I'll certainly take it for sure. Fun game, and Buccaneers got the win. Buccaneers continuing to play well and look a lot better when they're not playing the New Orleans Saints. That's what I think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Again, sorry about the weirdness of the video, but hope you guys enjoyed it regardless. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.